to me, one of the things that I want to see early in the Bahamas, but also preseason, early season, how well, if he's asked to do this at all, does Jared McCain do the, we'll call it the floor general type stuff, right? Because I think even with his being a rookie, whatever limitations he has, I think we probably would all go into camp saying he's the best shooter of that group pretty easily, or should be. Whether he actually is, we'll see with the longer 3-point line, all that good stuff. His path to minutes, if he gets any this year, hinges on, can you do the quote-unquote point guard things and set guys up and run the offense, get the ball to Joel Embiid at his spots. And I think Lowry, because we all probably inherently believe he's capable of that stuff and is going to do that stuff at the highest level and has the most trust from Nick Nurse, he has the inside track right away. Now, what he's competing against is Reggie Jackson and his relationship with Paul George, quite frankly, but also at this stage of their careers, Reggie is still a much more capable pick and roll type guy, right? So if you're going to run him in stuff like that, ask him to be more of a creator, Reggie's got more juice left, right? Like a little more on-ball creativity, on-ball burst, first step, however you want to characterize that. He can do more of that, add more of a scoring punch than Lowry is capable of. Kyle, I think, is, of those two, the guy that I think is the better, off-ball awareness defender, the connective piece on that end of the floor. If you're trying to make a case for McCain, and I do think right now he's running third of these guys just by virtue of being a rookie and having so much further to go, he's got to be a little bit of Lowry, and that he's going to be that, off-ball defender. Good. Not to say Reggie Jackson is like a cataclysmically bad defender, but he's certainly a peg or two below.
Well, and Reggie has a little bit of advantage just from the wingspan.
The length is,
he doesn't have the sturdiness of Kyle Lowry, but he has the wingspan to help.
You can just say Kyle's got a huge butt. Like that's kind of his, right? That's a well-known thing. Kyle is a bigger, stronger guy, but Reggie has the wingspan event. So, how you grade that, we'll see. But McCain, if he can do at least some of the off-ball defensive stuff, which is a big ask for a rookie, if he can do some of the floor general point guard level stuff, then the shooting should be a big separator, right? Because I think the speed with which he can get shots up, his comfort as an off-ball guy and being that like high volume release valve, and frankly the rebounding that hopefully he can chip in there. I know that's for a 6'1", 6'2" guard. Mm-hmm. That's not going to be the center of your skill set, but on a team where rebounding is a big question, if Jared McCain comes out and can pretty consistently contribute there, that's going to help him. I do think, though, I agree with Derek. I would say Kyle has the inside track. We already saw him start and play really heavy minutes for Nick last year, this deep into his career. I wouldn't totally dismiss, though, the fact that, again, the relationship stuff. Reggie Jackson didn't come here because he's friends with Paul George. He came here because he's friends with Paul George and expects and wants to play with Paul George.
Yeah,
and that's
but I think
a big
that's
thing.
True for Kyle. Like Kyle came here because he knows Nick and he expects to play. And, quite frankly, Eric Gordon came here because he expects to play too. Yeah. So there's only so many players you can actually play versus how many expect you to play. I'm not putting Reggie on the floor if I don't think it makes sense. Now, I don't have to deal with the ramifications of that.
Nick Nurse
but my point is there's three people making that same case, and two of them I think fit a little bit better.
So what do you want to see, or what are you hoping to see, Devon, I guess, in that? Obviously, next week is just first week, back from the summer. A lot of things will be conditioning, seeing where guys are at, game sharpness level at this point of the offseason. But what are you hoping to see when we get down there between these guys specifically?
So
this is where you talk about something completely unrelated to what
you want to talk about Eric Gordon now? Or?
So of those, I think we all agree, we're all in agreement there that that's Kyle Lowry's spot to lose as we start camp because of the familiarity. We also agree that Jared McCain is third because of the lack of experience and the fact that he's going against two veterans that have 10 plus, 12 plus years of experience in the NBA. So he's way behind on that track. So in no sense of the word do I mean specialty, but that is his specialty, Jared McCain, the shooting part. Mm-hmm. We've already seen where Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry, both in playoff and NBA final settings, have proven to be NBA better shooters because they've done it already. The question is, I do want to find out, because of the things that we saw at practice at Summer League and then what we saw translate to the floor in Summer League, how long will it take him to get to the spot where Nick Nurse trusts him to put him on the floor for the specialty reason that he is? Because if we're looking at the ball handling situation, it's going to be tough. We saw it tough in Summer League. These are now the real guys that he's going to be going against, and he's going to be going against all NBA defenders. He's going to be going against guys that are playing as rookies.
No, he will have better
players.
Spacing. It'll open up a little bit for him, but he'll, again, to your point,
they will
higher level defenders on him.
Yeah.
Now.
Plus, when you also look at some of the other rookies that are going to be there, how many of those rookies that are fighting for their own minutes on their own team going against another fellow rookie that's saying, I need to shut this guy down. He can shoot. I'm not letting him put the ball on the floor and get by me. So that is all one big package of Jared McCain. That whole thing is fascinating from the start because of what these guys were talking about on draft night, fitting next to Maxey or anybody else on this team, because they're all Maxey's size outside of the Eric Gordon part for the different specialty that he has. So that's going to be a big-time fascinating thing with him. In particular, when does the coach start to trust him when he's on the floor? Do we see a difference from what we saw in July to where we are getting ready for October? Then you get to the Lowry and Jackson piece. So you guys talked about Lowry extensively. I'll just go to the Jackson part of he also signed here, just like Eric Gordon, as you mentioned, for a reason of relationship-based. Also wanting to win because this is a contending team and seeing there as an opportunity for some minutes. What did they tell him? What did they explain to him that is going to be available to him, not just with the Paul George piece, but for when we're talking about him coming in and getting minutes, he also has a relationship with Andre Drummond from the Detroit Pistons times where they were the two stars of that franchise at that time together. So if he feels like he still has something left and he, while already on the back end of things because of Kyle Lowry's relationship with the head coach, he's also proven that he can play in the playoffs. He can also prove that he can get hot and turn a game in a few minutes that are out there on the floor as a scorer, not necessarily as that ball handler that you talk about that Lowry does have. So Lowry is the one with the ball handling. The question is Reggie Jackson and Jared McCain both not being trusted as much with their ball handling, more of their scoring ability. And does that at least show itself in training camp where Jackson shows some semblance of ball handling with this particular group, also playing off of someone like Nikola Jokic, while it's a little bit different than Joel Embiid, but playing with a true center. When we speak about nobody's played with a guy like this, he was dominant in another way, but he was in fact dominant playing off of a center there, and again playing with someone that was important with Andre Drummond in Detroit as a big man. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, if he is able to emerge a little bit in front of either of them.
We all silly like the mayor.